Welcome to today's yoga class. We're going to be focusing on the 7 directions of the spine to increase and help with spinal mobility. So we'll begin in a kneeling position here. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can start in a cross-legged position instead. Bringing hands to the lap and taking a few full breaths. And as you do that, bringing awareness to the spine, checking in here, noticing the natural tendencies of the spine. Notice if that's rounding in the shoulders or arching in the low back. Just observing for a moment. When you're ready, bringing left arm out to your side, reaching through the fingertips, right ear towards the right shoulder, stretching through the side of the neck. Breathing into any tightness here. On an inhale, bringing the head and neck back to center, and then bringing that left arm around, reaching to the back, right arm to the left elbow, and stretching up and over to the right, breathing into that left side body, creating space through the rib cage, keeping the chest open. And then inhale back to center, releasing hands. This time walking right fingertips out to your side, left ear to the left shoulder. Breathing into any tightness through the side of the neck. On your next inhale, bringing the head and neck back up. Right arm reaching around the back, left hand to that right elbow, stretching up and over to the left, chest lifted, breathing into the right side body. And then inhale, coming back to center, releasing the hands, and making your way into a wide-legged child's pose, toes together, knees apart, arms reaching forward. Breathing into the back body. On an inhale, creating some fluid movement through the spine, rounding the upper body forward as you come into a kneeling plank. Exhale all the way down to the mat, coming onto your belly. Inhale to cobra, elbows hugging into your sides, pressing into the toes. Exhale, release, utilizing arm strength to press back, leading with tailbone into child's pose. On an inhale, once again, rounding through that upper body, coming forward to a kneeling plank. Exhale, lowering down, elbows into your sides. Inhale, finding cobra. Exhale, release. Once again, utilizing arm strength, leading with the tailbone, coming all the way up, this time into down dog. Creating that same movement from here. Inhale, rounding the spine forward, scooping the belly into a plank. And exhale, creating that arch through the back body, leading with tailbone as you come back. Inhale, rounding forward to plank. Exhale, bending knees, pressing through the spine. Once more, going through this motion, trying to create some movement through the spine, fluidity, finding your movement. Coming to down dog. From your down dog, inhale, right leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee towards the chest, stepping to the top of the mat in a low lunge. Untucking the back toes. Inhale as you reach arms overhead, interlacing the fingers, index fingers pointing up, and taking a back bend here, extension, opening the chest, breathing into the front body. And on an exhale, releasing the hands down to either side of that front foot, coming into a hamstring stretch here. Lengthening the spine, squaring hips forward. Inhale, coming back to your low lunge and pressing back to down dog. And inhale, rolling the spine forward into your plank. Exhale, lowering all the way down to your belly. Coming into a locust pose with hands interlaced behind the spine, lifting the chest, and then maybe lifting legs up here, spreading the toes wide, resting on the lower ribs, the pelvis. And exhale, release, pressing all the way back up into your down dog. On an inhale, left leg reaching up, three-legged dog. Exhale, stepping through to the top of the mat. Low lunge, untucking the back toes. And once again, inhale, arms reaching, interlacing fingers, pointing through the index fingers. And then finding extension through that back body, opening up into a back bend. Breathing deep into the belly. And on an exhale, releasing hands to either side of that front foot, tenting the fingers, coming to your hamstring stretch with a long spine here, reaching through the crown of your head. Breathing into the hamstring. And on an inhale, coming forward, stepping all the way back to your down dog. On an inhale, rolling spine forward back to plank. Exhale all the way down, lowering here, coming back into locust pose. Once again, if you'd like, taking opposite interlace of fingers, reaching the arms back, shoulders away from the ears as you lift up through the chest and the legs, spreading through the toes. One more breath. And exhale, release, pressing all the way through back to down dog. On an inhale, reaching right leg up, and this time bending the knee, opening the hip. Maybe looking through to find that foot with your gaze. And exhale, stepping foot to the top of the mat. Shortening your stance, coming into a pyramid pose, squaring hips forward. Finding length first through the spine, and then on an exhale, rounding down here. Forehead towards that front knee. Breathing into the back body. On an inhale, finding length through the spine once again, keeping that left hand towards the mat. Coming into revolved triangle, right arm reaching up. Maybe looking up towards that top hand. And exhale, releasing here. Bending that front knee, and as you're ready, coming back to downward facing dog. Finding that fluidity through the spine as you roll forward back to plank, lowering all the way down to the mat. And this time it's up to you if you'd like, taking a upward dog, locust pose, or coming into bow pose, reaching towards the feet or the ankles, keeping knees about hip distance as you press toes up to the ceiling, chest lifting, shoulders down away from the ears. Breathing into the front body. And exhale, release. Moving in a way that feels good for your spine back to down dog. Finding that three-legged dog with the left leg lifted. Bending the knee, opening the hip. Taking a breath there. And then stepping through all the way to the top of the mat. Finding that pyramid pose once again. So finding length through the spine, squaring hips. And then exhale as you fold forward. Breathing into the back body. On an inhale, finding length through the spine, keeping right hand on the mat under the shoulder. And then inhale as you rotate here, reaching left arm up towards the sky or the ceiling. Breathing into this twist. As you're ready, releasing the hand back down and then making your way back into a downward facing dog. On an inhale, rolling the spine forward back to plank. Exhale, slowly lowering elbows into your sides. Coming into your variation of a back bend if you're coming into bow pose. Once again, engaging back muscles, to find length through the spine as you lift the feet and the upper body. Breathing into the belly, spreading toes wide. Exhale, releasing, and making your way back into downward facing dog. As you're ready, walking hands towards the back of your mat, finding a forward fold. Maybe hugging behind the legs here. Keeping feet as they are, about hip distance. Maybe gently rocking head, yes and no, releasing any tension through the neck. Releasing those arms as you're ready, walking hands forward, finding down dog once again. As you're ready, bending knees, coming to all fours, and coming into some cat-cows to just release anything here. Taking your time, inhale as you open through the front body, exhale as you round the spine, opening through the back body. Finding any other movements that feel good for you here. So maybe creating a C with the spine from a neutral tabletop. Right shoulder and hip come together, back to center, over to the left, back to center. If you'd like, combining that movement of the C with the cat-cows, kind of barrel rolling here in one direction and then the other. And then as you're ready, making your way into a seated position. Legs extending, removing any fleshy bits from your sides. And then bending the left foot in here, sole the foot to the inner thigh, reaching up with the arms, inhaling and exhale as you fold forward, reaching anywhere on that opposite leg or the foot. And inhale, rolling the spine up. And then changing here, coming onto the opposite side. Inhale, arms up. And exhale as you fold forward. If you like, playing around with micro movements here with each inhale, creating a slight lengthening through the spine. And each exhale, rounding down a little bit deeper. Taking one more breath here. And on an inhale, rolling the spine up, extending both legs, and carefully making your way onto your backs here. Coming into a counter pose to open through the front body. You can either come into bridge pose here, feet at hip distance, or if you'd like, coming up into wheel pose. If you're coming into wheel, keeping the knees hip distance, relaxing the glutes, fingers facing towards the feet, growing long through the armpits and gazing between the hands. If you're in wheel, slowly lowering down. If you're in bridge, lowering down here as well, hugging knees into the chest. Maybe taking a gentle rock side to side, massaging the back. They're ready, releasing arms out to shoulder height and coming into a twist, resting the legs to one side as you look over the opposite shoulder. If you'd like to deepen the twist, crossing that top leg over the bottom leg, noticing how that extra weight creates a little bit more space through the back body. Breathing into the twist. Moving back up towards the ceiling or the sky, uncrossing the legs if they're crossed. Engaging the core as you draw the knees up through center and exhale to the opposite side. Once again, if you'd like, crossing top leg over the bottom, deepening the twist. As you're ready, looking back towards the ceiling or sky, uncrossing legs, engaging the core as you draw the knees back through center, maybe hugging them in once again if you'd like, rocking side to side. And then either coming into a legs up the wall pose or modified here with hands under the low back, legs extended, or coming into shoulder stand. If you're coming in shoulder stand, chins towards the chest for a long neck, looking towards the navel, zipping the legs together, lifting up, spreading the toes, and utilizing strength to lift the body up rather than collapsing down into the shoulders and the hands, using the hands to support the low back, elbows hugging in towards each other. If you'd like, taking a plow pose here, extending legs back behind you. If the toes can reach the ground, pressing through heels, maybe releasing hands behind you, interlacing the fingers. Taking deep breaths here. When you're ready to release out of either pose, bending knees towards either ear or either shoulder, using hands to support the low back, and very, very slowly rolling the spine down one vertebrae at a time, hugging the knees into the chest. Maybe taking a gentle rock side to side. So you're ready, coming into Shavasana Pose, so extending those legs out, arms by your sides, palms face up. And breathing into the space you've created in your spine and in your body, noticing the length, the opening. Throughout this class, we utilize the 7 directions of the spine to increase mobility. For a moment, taking an active pose in the Shavasana, creating extension through the spine, focusing on axial extension. As you slightly tuck the tailbone, trying to close that gap between the low back and the mat. And then chin slightly tucked, closing the gap between the neck and the mat. Focusing on finding length from the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head, increasing the space between each vertebrae. And then on an exhale, allowing yourself to come into that full Shavasana, releasing the spinal muscles, releasing everything here, allowing the natural gaps, spaces, and arches to return, settling into your mat. And an inhale, reaching one arm overhead, bending the knees, rolling on your side, taking a moment here. If you'd like, staying there a little longer, We're coming up to seated to close this practice. On an inhale, arms reaching overhead, and exhaling, palms down through center. Namaste.